Hi, this is Andrew Gearin from Analog IT. Welcome to Getting the Most from Office 365, a series to help users effectively implement all the productivity tools in Office 365. In this episode, we'll have a first look at Teams. Okay, let's get started. For those of you who are new to Teams, it's similar to Slack, but with a few more features. I've been using Slack for a long time, and we've also been using Teams since the very beginning in our office. And I love it. I love it a lot more than Slack. There's a lot more things you can do for collaboration. And for those of you who are used to Slack, it might be a little bit of a change, but it's definitely a product that a lot of users are adopting and finding great success for collaboration. Another thing is, those of you who are using Skype for Business, Microsoft has announced at the end of July 2021 the full transition of Teams to replace Skype for Business. That's the date that they've decided to let customers kind of go on Skype for Business. So there's definitely time, but those of you who are on Skype for Business, it's probably a good time to get into Teams, Microsoft Teams, and see how the transition is. So I'll cover in a different episode what you can do if your organization is changing from Skype for Business to Teams. But today I'm just going to take a quick intro for those of you who are new to Teams. The easiest way to access Teams is sign in to teams.microsoft.com. And I forgot the S there. And this is the online version. And I'm just going to have to grab something here. 1 second. So sign in with your Office 365 credentials with the right password. And you'll notice that there'll be a link when you log in here that you can download the client for Mac OS or Windows. So you can say use the web app. We're going to go to that here because I have the Windows app installed. So you just download it and install it, and you would still log in with your credentials, Office 365 credentials. So I'm going to go use web app. And you'll notice here that it goes right away to create a team or join a team. And so we'll go through the different features. But what we're going to do now is just take a look at the basics. And I'll give you kind of a quick tour of Teams, and then we'll get into some more deep dives as the series progresses. So at the top here, you'll notice that it locks into the waffle for Office 365 and Office 365 apps. Depending on what subscription you have, you'll see different applications here. I'm just going to go to the activities here, and we don't have a lot in this feed here for activity, but anything that happens that's related to you in Microsoft Teams will show up in your activity feed. And you can filter it when you're mentioned, anything that you have unread from the chat, any replies, reactions. So it records everything. So I'm going to go to the chat here, and you'll notice that this is a demo environment, so all the demo users that are signed up in Microsoft Teams that I can chat with. So I'll go over chat a little bit later in this episode. There's a lot of really cool things that we can do with chat, and it's a very great way to collaborate. And this is where the teams go. In next episode, we're gonna go through creating a team and joining a team and adding users to a team. Any meetings. So this is replacing Skype for Business. Anytime you've had an online meeting with a colleague or a client, guests can log into this, and I'll have a whole episode on how to configure guests and to get them working in your tenant, and so that you can collaborate with colleagues or customers or suppliers or anybody in your business that you need to collaborate or make contact. So there's some really cool new features that are coming out as well. which I'll go over. And one of my favorite things about Teams is the file collaboration. So it is possible to collect different storage accounts, and it depends what your organization uses. For me, my best practices, if we're using Office 365 and our files are stored on OneDrive, is to disable some of the other services that Teams can connect to, but it all depends on what you need to use that for. So I'll be going over OneDrive first, and the deep integration into OneDrive and the Office suite, online Excel, PowerPoint, and Word. So we'll be going over that as well. But so basically, you have these main tabs, and then one of the powerful things in Teams is you can add different services to Teams depending on what you're using. So you might be using other products. You might be using Trello for your project management. So there's a connector to Trello that you can bring things in. So it's similar to Slack in that it connects to different services. And there's also you can get different apps that aren't listed here, and so I'll be going over that eventually. So this is a basic tour, and so I'm going to go back to chat here, and this is basically private chats, and it's the same as most other applications. If I wanted to send a message to Alan, I could just say, type a message to Alan, and it shows up in his Teams. He's not going to answer me because he's a demo user and he's not hanging out there. So at some point I'll do a collaborative chat session. I'm going to dismiss this. It's asking me to turn on notifications for desktop, even though we're in the web client. So I'm not going to turn that on. I'm going to dismiss. Now the great thing, so that's just a quick message, and you just hit return to send. But if I want to do more, you have a highlighter. You can change the underline. You can change the indent. There's bullet numbering. You can add a link. In terms of if I go along here, you can set it as important. I can change collapse the compositional too. So this is basically what you see is what you get editor. I can add attachments. If you attach a JPEG, it displays for the person, and anything that I attach here, you'll notice the files tab. This is just a workspace for me to chat with Alan. So if I want to share files with just him, anything that I attach to the conversation will show up here, but I also can go here and upload files to this specific conversation. Okay, so if I go back to here and I open up what you see is what you get editor. If I go along here, there's basically emojis. So you can use them. Not my favorite. They're kind of weird emojis, but they're emojis nonetheless. This is kind of cool too. We use this all the time in-house. GIFs. There's also stickers. So it's basically, even though this is a business application, it definitely adds the friendliness of collaborating in a maybe non-formal way. So schedule a meeting. If I wanted to schedule a meeting with Alan, it basically adds the attendees here, and I can get started. This is connected directly with Exchange. So anything that I plan here with a meeting, it's booking me, which is the logged in user that I have here, and Alan. And I can change all this, and it basically automatically sends a link out to Alan on how to join, just like Skype for Business, but how to join the meeting that's scheduled. So again, we'll go over kind of a deep dive into collaboration and meetings in a different video. And you can actually meet in a specific channel. We don't have any channels built, but if let's say you're meeting with your accounting team and you have an accounting team in Microsoft Teams, you can put it on the accounts payable channel perhaps, and you're meeting about accounts payable. So that meeting basically can reside in there, and any notes that you have in files that you share will go into that channel. And you can invite other people other than Alan. And then also there's other things that you can add here in terms of this is great. Show gratitude to peers. So that's just new in the since the spring, I think. There's other things you can, weather, stocks, places. So there's a whole bunch of things you can connect. YouTube I use a lot. If there's a video I want to share with a colleague, I'll post this in here and it renders. You can search for videos on YouTube and it puts it right in here. So again, we can go over that at a later date. But so it's a very rich place for conversation. And so another thing that I can do here is if I want to, let's say I want to make a group of Alan and Amy. So I'm just going to hit this and I'm going to go Alan, add him, and add Amy. Very easy. I'm going to add Anne as well. And so you can add up to, I think it's 150, but I'll double check that. So you can create a group of people, just an ad hoc group, and you can chat with them just like you would chat with anyone else. And you'll notice that this group here, and if you want to just share files with them, it shows that there's 4 participants. You can start a meeting with them right away, a video meeting, a video call, or an audio call. You can even add more people to the group. So it's a very quick way to have an ad hoc collaboration if you don't have a long-term team that you would set up to collaborate, which you would set up in this tab, which I'm going to go over next time. Okay, so in terms of the search is great. So obviously we don't have a lot of discussions in this because it's a demo tenant, but I find that if you want to find something, if you've mentioned it in any conversation, it works very, very well to search what, even if it was years ago. So there's a couple that were from last year. I guess Teams is pretty young, so we don't really have years, but definitely last year, if I searched something, I was looking for something the other day that a colleague and I were working on, and I was able to find it in a matter of seconds. Very good search. So I'm going to look at one more thing here before we end this intro episode in its contacts. You can add different contacts here, and obviously when it goes to recent, you can basically pin this. So if I'm talking with Amy quite a bit, I can pin this, and what that does is it puts it at the top. And I don't think it's not working right now, but it would. Let me try that one more time. Yeah, not working right now. So there'll be another category called pinned, and it would put Amy there if I talk to that. So this is making suggestions of the people in my organization. So if I wanted to add to favorite contacts, it would basically add Amy here to favorites. So and it basically here you can still chat with it, but again, it's 2 different tabs, recent. And if I want to find somebody that's not suggested, I can just start typing their name, whether it's inside the organization or outside. You'll be able to see. So again, collaborating with people inside, there's more features that you can use. There's a few limitations when you add guests to your organization. They still have to log in, but they would log in, they would create a Microsoft account and do that, and they would be assigned to your tenant. So we will go over that. So that's basically an intro to Microsoft Teams. I'm just going to go over quickly before we end, and this is the Windows 10 client, and you'll see that it's identical. So if I go down here, let me just see if the pinning works here. So yeah, for some reason it's not working at all. Yeah, and you can set, I love this feature. This was in Skype for Business. I use this quite often. If I wanted to know when a certain colleague was available, I can just set that and it notifies me when their status becomes available. Okay, so this is very, very similar to the web client. And one thing that I didn't mention, and I love this, but it's so easy to do ad hoc screen sharing. So I don't even have to start a call. Well, it automatically starts a call, but I can share my screen with Amy, and I can pick this. And I'll go over a whole screen sharing episode at some point. But this is an awesome thing that I use all the time. And there's a whiteboard feature that we can implement into this. There's all kinds of things. So, but for now, that's a basic intro. I hope I piqued your interest in Microsoft Teams if you're not familiar with it. If you have Office 365, log into Teams and start playing around. It's a great place to collaborate. A lot of stuff that we do right out of Teams, and there's not another application that we go into, because we can add different things to the tabs, which I'll go over at some point. So anyway, thanks for listening, and until next time, have a great week, and I'll see you then.